Hey, what's up? This is the Zim. This is the Zim video. This is part 33 of my rideshare experience videos, and I'm gonna do it for my car this week. I've been wanting to do that joke for a while. No, I'm not gonna do this in my car. Here we go. This is part 33, as I said, and I'm an artist musician from Seattle, Washington, and I am living in San Diego, and I use Lyft as my primary source of income while I make videos and have some fun. So this is what's going to go on today. We got some shout outs to do again and talk a little more about shout outs and the people engaging with the channel. It's been awesome. I got how much I made is what I do every week, my star rating, what I do every week, and then this week's topic is reporting an accident, because I was in an accident, which actually makes this a two-parter, because of the accident I'm now in the Hertz rental program, which I was in the Maven rental program at first. So I'm going to do, next time I'm going to talk about that, but this time I'm going to talk about reporting an accident. And then I've made, if I get to it, a little housekeeping, but we'll see how that goes with older videos. I have one housekeeping thing. But let's get into some shout outs. So quick shout outs. These are people that are engaging with the channel. Thank you everybody that's subscribed. But I'm shouting out to the people that are engaging until it gets to a point where it's just ridiculous to do that. But because I really appreciate it, because from what I understand about YouTube and the algorithms and all that stuff, it's the engagement that helps spread these videos more. So the more people that are commenting and liking and all that kind of stuff, the more other people will see it. So please do that if you're liking what's going on, and especially share it if you like them. If you think any of these videos are bringing value to you and you think they might bring value to somebody else, share them to the other people in the rideshare community and whatnot, and I would love that on the user groups on Facebook and things like that. So please do that. So some shout outs that came up this week, the new people that engaged with the channel: Matthias Isaac, Joy Godbold, Aj Raj, I don't know, Alton Smith, and Jamie Gerardo. She actually had a question that I said I would address today, so I'm going to do it really quickly. She mentioned something about should she wait in power zones for rides, and if you've been watching any of these videos up till this point, or at least a few of them, you probably are starting to gather that I'm a strong advocate for not waiting in zones or going to zones in search of rides, because like power zones or prime time or anything like that, because it's just attracting a lot of other drivers as well. You want to find a rhythm that works for you, that you can actually get rides. The only way I would ever say to go to those zones intentionally is because if you are very, very limited in the amount of driving that you're going to do, and you're willing to wait, and you just want to have the app on, and you're trying to get that unicorn ride to do 1 or 2 rides a night, and you're going to go home, and you're not, not a full-time driver like I am or anything like that, then maybe that's a reason to wait in zones for that unicorn. But if you're actually trying to just make this work and hustle and do it like I am full-time, then you don't want to do what Lyft tells you to do. You want to find the rhythm of your city, where you are, what works good. And in a couple videos back, I did where I drive in San Diego, but I also told you why I believe it works. So if you're looking for more rides constantly, refer back to that video, and I think it's a good starting point. Let me know. Otherwise, I hope that answered your questions, and if anybody else out there has thoughts about power zones and prime time and all that stuff, and whether it's worth it or not to go toward them, there's this thing that we hear on user groups all the time: don't chase the pink, because that's the color pink. A lot of people know not to do that because it's just oversaturates the area. Too many drivers are looking for the same thing, so only a few of you actually get rides. But if you find the rhythm in your city, anyways, I already mentioned that. So thanks a lot though, Jamie, for the question. And then we have a couple other people I want to give shout outs to, because they've been on the channel for a while, engaging pretty much since the beginning. Paul S., he's been asking questions and bringing up ideas for a while. He started a thread on one of the channels, on one of the videos, that got fairly political, and I don't like to go into a political space, so I just let whoever wanted to engage on that one engage on it. It did look like everybody stayed pretty civil. There was a little heat, but it never got to a place that it was crazy, because politics gets kind of crazy. So I just was staying away from that one. And then Jokes on You 1, I see you. Don't worry. He had a question about expenses, which I'll address today. I meant to do it last week, and I totally forgot, because I did write it down in my last week's thing, but I had a lot of stuff I was written down. So we'll get to that in a minute when I get to how much I made. He wanted to know more about gas expenses and things like that. So I've kind of refined it. I've talked about it in the past, but I've refined it a little bit. So let's get started. This is how much I made this week. I got deposited $896.93. And in my heads up display, it has $5 more because I got $5 more in cash tips for the week. I don't really get a lot of cash tips. And then my tip total was $119 because of that cash tips, which was pretty decent. I did 137 rides last week, which I feel pretty awesome about. So there's that. And then let's go into, so I'm going to talk about expenses at the end of this section. So I'll get to the expenses in a second. The second slide I usually show is what is the second slide I usually show? I think it's the daily breakdown. Let's do the daily breakdown. Friday was amazing, a little over $200. Saturday was even more amazing, $230 something. It was really good. I worked Tuesday through Saturday this week because I wanted to take off on Sunday, so I was hustling to make sure I got all my rides in. And so last week I talked about guaranteed hours or guaranteed weeks, and I divided up my week, and it turned out I needed 24 rides for 5 days to get the 120 rides I needed for the guarantee. And it started this thing for me, this process of recognizing what happened, going for that ride count. So what I've basically been doing is from here on out, I'm really I feel like 24 rides is the magic number. 24, 25 rides is the magic number to get the amount of money I want and get the amount of rides I need to feel comfortable. That doesn't talk about hours. It can be 8 hours or it can be 12 hours to get those 24 rides. But since there's three different factors, there's hours, there's ride count, and there's money. There's the three big factors on what's important when you're driving full time and how to do it and how to balance it. Taking out some of those factors so I don't personally get overwhelmed really helps. And I've basically taken it out just to ride count. I'm like, as long as I get 24 rides, it feels like I've been getting a good balance of long and short rides and everything. So by the time I hit that 24th ride or 25th ride or so, I did all right, and it's time to go home. So that it can come at any time, and it just depends on what's happening that week. So I'll keep you posted on how that rolls out as time goes on. But I've just kind of gotten rid of looking at how much money I'm making every time I do a ride, or even how long I've been driving. I just go for those rides. It's 24 rides, because I've noticed as well, once I break into the teens, it just starts to melt away. It just, for whatever reason, it just goes faster in this weird, odd kind of way. I don't understand totally, but it does. The next slide is the hourly breakdown. So this is just where I drove. In terms of hours this week, I cranked it, because of that 24 ride idea, and then so when it's good, so if I'm driving and I get my 24 rides in like 8 hours, and I'm like, well, I'll just keep going, and just make the money. So Friday I did 37 rides on Friday. Saturday I did like 32 or something like that, somewhere around there. So I did a lot of driving and got a lot of rides, and as you saw, I did 137 total rides this week, which is a pretty good amount. So there's that. So here we go. Joke's on you. This one's for you. This is the expenses. So I've mentioned this in the past, like I said. I'll just put up all the numbers right now. So it has $200. I put every week, I put aside $200 for gas. I did a little report in my QuickBooks. Quicken is what I use. I use Quicken on my computer. I did a report from February 1st until last week, actually. And it turns out I've spent $155, roughly $155 a week on gas. I didn't do it accurate. I didn't count up every week. I what I did was I did the total, and then divided it by the amount of months, and then divided that by 4, as if there were 4 weeks, and sometimes there might be. So it's roughly $155 dollars a week I spend on gas, and that includes everything. I do most of my driving for Lyft, but every once in a while I drive for some other reason, drive my kids to school, I've driven to LA multiple times since I moved down here. So there's other things like that go into that expense. But I still just put aside $200 because it's enough to make sure I have it for not only the job, but then for my life if I have it. So that's the first thing I deposit into my account every week after I get my deposit into my business account. I deposit in my personal account $200 for gas. That's the first thing I do. So then, as you know, I like to offer stuff in my car. I offer water, I offer candy, I offer gum, I offer mints. I offer too much stuff almost. I think I'm going to get rid of mints soon. It'll just be gum and candy. But it's the Dum-Dums that I do. So, and I did a report on that as well and did the same thing. And it looks like it costs me $42 a month to buy water and candy and stuff for my passengers. So $42 a month, that is totally doable, like basically $10 a week. I think that's reasonable. I don't think that doesn't break my bank at all. I'm okay with it, and I feel like it offers a good experience for my passengers. I think I get better ratings for it. I think I get more tips for it, but you never know how that works. And then taxes. So 15% is my target number for taxes. So whatever I make, I divide it, take 15% of it, put it into my tax account. But I've been a little bit lax on it these days because, well, a couple reasons. When I'm working with a CPA, I have a CPA I'm working with. When the first quarter of taxes, he was like, you really don't owe anything, but you should pay your Social Security tax, because you're going to have to pay that anyway. It doesn't have anything to do with your income and all that stuff. So I've been depositing every quarter a little bit of money to go toward that Social Security tax, not really to go toward my income because of what happened that first quarter, because it's like estimated. And so for my particular situation, I don't only drive Lyft, but I wanted to show. So there's those numbers. Hold that in your mind, rewind them if you want. I'm going to put up this slide here, and this is my mile tracking, what's it called? Mile tracking thing. I use QuickBooks for my mile tracking. And in this slide, it says I moved the file. But anyways, oh, here it is again. It says that my business miles up to this point, this is again from last week, is basically 30,000 miles I've driven for business purposes. And then so the tax deduction, and I'm not the CPA, I don't really know what this means, but the tax deduction is $16,000. So there's one of the deductions that goes toward that what I owe in taxes. I'm also a father, so I get head of household, so that affects my taxes. I also have run my other businesses, like well, you can barely see it, but on the wall there's a clutch purse that I've talked about in older videos. Here's one right here that I've made. I make these, and I sell them, and it's kind of been slow, but at the beginning of the year I still bought a bunch of supplies to make them and stuff, so that's a tax deduction. And then I'm a musician. All the music stuff I do, paying for people to help me record, paying for gear, paying for that, is another tax deduction. So I have a ton of deductions that go into my taxes every quarter, and every year. So until the end of the year, when I finally file the end of the year taxes, I'm going to do a whole video on that as well, so you'll get to see that. And it'll be more explained, but for now, I don't, depends. My advice to you regarding this whole thing is that you should be setting yourself up as a business and basically writing off everything you possibly can. This room I'm sitting in counts as a tax deduction because it's my office. It's what I do. Just set up a desk in your corner and say that's where you do your bookkeeping and whatnot for your Lyft driving, and that can be written off as a portion of your taxes because it's in your home. And there's all these places where you can write off something if you set it up right. So you should be doing that if you're driving for Lyft, especially if you're driving for Lyft full time or whatever rideshare service you're doing. Consider that. So let me know if I answered all your questions around expenses. That's pretty much what's going on for me and expenses, so hopefully that helped you out. Star rating, here we go. Started off pretty low, was in the 4.8, and then I got down maybe to a 4.86, but every day this week pretty much, or last week, I made my way back out of the 4.6 range, and I did get, I want to read you this one as well, if I can find it in time, as things are scrolling by. But I got a really great review that I'm pretty stoked on. Let me see if I can get to it. Oh, here we go. So the review, I'm going to put it in the screen right now, no matter where we are. Had water, candy, cell phone charger, and more for his customers. I've taken Uber several times, Lyft dozens of times, and he is the best driver of them all. Boom. So anyways, I had to share that with you. But I'm currently rocking the 4.95, which was on that particular, that was the last review and email I got for the week. Rocking the 4.95, so my app rating is at a 5.0 currently. Pretty stoked on that. Anyways, if you have any questions about my star rating, feel free to hit me up. I'm running out of time, so let's talk about the accident report. I might have to make this a long video again. But anyways, so what happened? I hit somebody. So what happened was I backed into somebody. I was pulling out of a parking lot area, and I backed into another car. My car had no damage on it at all. It was like a little scuff. It was nothing. Unfortunately, the car that I hit had a dent in it, and according to, I left my number on it. It was a parked car, so I left my number on his windshield and said, call me. And I was honestly, at first I was hoping I could just pay him cash and just not deal with it, you know, just be like, no, whatever, because there was no damage to my car and all that stuff. So I contacted the Maven representative in the area, and she gave me this email right here, and you could read through it. But the part that really freaked me out was I would had to turn the car in. If I reported, I would have got deactivated and turned my car in. And that was like, and it was like in the middle of last week when I was going for that not bonus, but the guarantee, and making sure I could get the guarantee, and then I'm also at a place where if I'm out of car for longer than a few days, it really affects my ability to survive and make money, and so I was really stressed out about it. Luckily, the way it all worked out was it took him a while to get back to me on everything. I was advised to just keep driving since there was no damage to the car. So, and when I figured out what was actually going to happen, you know, take it from there. And what ended up happening was found out that the damage to his car, I guess, was going to cost $2,000, and I was like, there's no way I can afford that on my own. And so I was like, oh, I guess I just got to file a claim. So I was like, just bite the bullet. It was the beginning of the next week. I'll see if I can get through this as fast as possible. And get another car for the weekend and just make it happen. And there was a little bit of confusion because, so what I did was I went to the website and said, call me, do the claim thing right there. As you see the little red button, I did that. And, you know, a side note to all this, the customer service has been amazing all the way across the board, from the Maven representative to the person I talked to on the phone to now the Hertz people. So everything's been really easy to deal with in terms of customer service. On a personal note, I would love to see a little more depth to the customer service, but on the surface, it's been great. So I'll talk about that more down the line at some point, but for now, let's leave it at that. So I filed the claim, and what had happened, because it was, you know, an accident, they have to turn off your app for a while until you give them pictures of the damage on your car as an express drive driver. So I sent them pictures of my car, and when they did their assessment, they were like, okay, there is no damage, and they turned me back on within an hour. So I was like, my app problem was like, there was no problem really at all. Once I figured it all out, I was like, oh, that's not a big deal. I was freaking out way more than I needed to, and because I just didn't know, you know. So I talked to the lady, and she was like, okay, just send me your the pictures, and then we'll get you reactivated when we see them, and that's what happened. When I was on the phone with her, she made it sound like I wouldn't probably need to turn the car back in, but I guess with Maven, no matter what, you just have to turn the car back in. So I contacted the support, the Lyft contact for Maven, and I turned the car in, and she had me scheduled, the same day I turned the car in, she had me scheduled to go pick up a car from Hertz. So there was really, like, my situation, it was like best case scenario for me as it could have been. I went from, dropped off the Maven car in the morning, picked up the Hertz car in the evening, and actually started driving for Lyft again the same day that I got my car. So I really didn't miss out on very much work. It was like as perfect as it could be. The only unfortunate part for it was the car I got from Hertz, I actually turned back in, so now I have a second car from Hertz, and I'll talk way more about that next time. That'll be a little bit of a cliffhanger. But, basically the bottom line is, for me, the experience of filing a claim was super easy. They were very helpful, they were very clear on what needed to happen, and I wasn't as panicked as I thought I should be. I thought I was gonna be once I all did all the things. There's like the insurance, and I'll keep you posted. I don't know if anything will come up back at me down the line, because I'm sure they're filing insurance and doing all that stuff that I'm not aware of, and I don't know if it's coming back to me. There's when you see the insurance for the rental cars, they talk about a deductible, and I don't know if that's just damage on, like, if the rental car got damaged, I would be responsible for something, but I haven't seen it. They haven't talked to me yet about me owing anybody any money, and I haven't been garnished yet or anything, so I think I don't know, I'll let you know. But as far as needing to get the other party the insurance information, it's super easy. It's on the app even. I just took a screenshot of it and sent it to them in a text. That's what I was advised to do, and yeah, so if you have any, I'm not sure if I made that clear, but hopefully that was clear on what my experience filing a claim through insurance, through Lyft. And I had a pass, because the original incident, I had a passenger in the car, I backed into another car, I left my number and went off and did the rest of my day. I was really freaked out that day, because it was just like, it was really hard to stay concentrated. And I think, if you remember last week, I dropped to a 4.86 in my star rating, and it could have been because of that person in that car was like, I'm in a car with somebody that just hit another car. I'm not going to give them a 5 point. Maybe I don't know what they gave me, but my rating dropped pretty far that week, and I'm out of it now. But that's what's going on. I think that really covers it. But yeah, I was pretty distraught until I was able to just get him the insurance information and know it was all taken care of, because yeah, just what happened. So let me know if you have any questions regarding any of that stuff. Hopefully I maybe brought some light onto the idea if you're wondering about how insurance claims works, and what to do and that kind of stuff. So alright, let's see, last thing, well, since I had to start this video over anyway, little housekeeping. On part 30 of my videos, there's a screen, there's the thumbnail of it, I mentioned in it that I got a toll fine, and it turns out that toll, like in California, the toll network is not all synced together. I thought it had to do with the local tolls, but it was when I went to LA once, and I didn't have my information updated on the toll, website thing, so I had to pay that. It was just water under the bridge, kind of. I didn't get any money back. I just had to pay it because it was it wasn't tracked on my account. It was just went straight to the Maven. They paid it, so then I got charged on my thing. So anyways, just housekeeping on that. If you found this video because you want to become a driver, use my referral code ZIM200 and you can drive too. We both get bonuses depending on where you are. Thanks a lot. I got another driver became a another using my referral code, adding to the family. What's your name? I'm gonna get your name real quick. You're from Atlanta. I got Sam from Atlanta. Thanks a lot, Sam from Atlanta, for using my referral code. Get out there and drive and make some money. We both make a little extra money if you do the driving. And if you found this because you want to become a passenger, or if you're like, you know, curious about Lyft and you haven't ever signed up for an account, you can use that referral code too and get a credit for your first couple rides or something. And then I get some money too. So I haven't had any passenger referrals yet, but yeah, maybe I will one of these days. But drivers, thank you so much for driving and signing up. You know, it's awesome. It's a game changer. It's a game changer to have you driving with me. So let's do it together. Alright, if you have any questions for me, be sure to let me know what they are. Be happy to answer them or give you my opinions on them. I got some things coming up that people have asked me that down the line I'll be answering. But next week I'm definitely going to address the Hertz program, and then give this a thumbs up, share it around with your community, the other rideshare drivers if you think it's of value. Also, comment, do that thing, subscribe, do that thing. Alright, I'll catch up with you next time I do one of these. Peace.